Okay, so we'll start the session. So today we are going to talk about Git. So what is Git? So Git is nothing but it's open. Actually, it's an initially it is open source software by default, and it is a distribute. It is like what is that? Actually, it's a distributed revision control and source code management system. What is mean by revision control or source code management system? So revision control is nothing but a software versioning. So say for example, you are so initially you are going to start to develop an application or a software. Okay, so you all know. So we actually came across several applications. They are actually releasing each version, right? Because of so many bugs will arise and a few new features will be added, kind of. So whenever you adding something into it, so we need to we are actually overriding that existing portion of your code, and we are actually introducing a new feature, or we are modifying the bugs, so we are fixing the bugs, etc. And with the help of Git, we can maintain complete history of your software, the software program. So that is called, so that's why we are actually using Git. So that is called source code management system, and it is initially developed by Linus Torvald. So you all know who is Linus Torvald. So he is the author of Linux. So he also he actually created that Git also for Linux development, and it's actually open source distributed software. And version controls, as I said before, so it is a software which help a software developer to do work together to maintain history of your code. Say for example, we have initiated like a shortbot, and by default, because no, it is not a small software, so it's supposed to do it by people together to make that complete full scale software. So for that, each one taking care of like one section, like Nitin is going to take care of dashboard, Vignesh is going to take care of a facility, etc., kind of. So each and every one going to take care of one segment, right? So for that, what to do? So we need to merge all of the individual module together to frame a complete application. So if you do it by ourselves, like it's like a manhandling means it became very tough, and we will miss something else. So that's why version control system help us. So how a version control system works? So first of all, we have to create something called repository. So repository is nothing but a location. It's a storage system where your code going to resides. So this is a repository. Okay, and hereafter there is one more thing called so there is a three level step is there. One is the first thing is the repository. So there where the code going to be stored, and the second thing is the staging area, and then a working area. So these are the three level workflow of Git. So this is where your program going to store, I mean your source code. And staging area is nothing but the like a middleman or interface between storage and then a programmer, and we can call it as a cache storage. So means, so whatever we are working in our machine is called working directory. So once we done with our working, we need to commit our changes. That is called staging area. So staging area won't be staging content won't be reflected directly in repository. It is a cache storage. So with the help of staging directory, we won't lose our changes. So whatever we made, it will be resides in a staging area until it is pushed into repository. So this is the three level workflow. So the three level segment which is available in Git. So in versions, as I said, say for example, this is a repository, and we have to clone, like if you are a 7 member team, and we each and everyone going to develop one new module. Okay, and initially we have to create a new repository, and we need to clone the same repository in each and every one machine. So by default, so say for example, all of your machine will look like this. So say for example, just assume this is our machine. So all of your machine will look like this. Okay, and one going to do some modification means what happened, your changes. So you are actually did one thing on top of some top of your base branch. So you can call it as a, this is a base branch, we can call it as a base branch, and people one actually going to do something. Okay, so this is actually reside on top of this. Okay, and people two going to do something else. So this will reside here. Got it? So there is a tree. So this is called a source tree. Whenever we're doing something, the each everything will be traced, and the third one going to do, and the tree will look like this. Got it? And what happened? So the changes what people 2 and 3 did was not there in people 1, and also it is not there in the base directory. So what to do? We need to add first we need to go by so like in some sorting order, like so if one going to do push into branch, and some others have to wait until someone going to push his changes. So what happened if people one going to push his changes, so all other rest will be carried, and now your branch will look like this. And then people 2, there is a mismatch between people 2 and base. Okay, what to do? So people 2 going to pull all of the changes and then maintain in his record, and then he needs to add his changes into the record. Similarly, people 3 going to supposed to copy that repository. I will demonstrate that. I'm just explaining how it is works, and you need to apply his changes on top of it. That's it. So now your base will look like this. So each and everyone again supposed to pull your changes. We'll explain what it is, and this is the workflow of version control system. As I said, it has a three level structure, like a workflow. One is a working directory is nothing but where you are actually working. And the second thing is staging area. Staging area is nothing but a cache. It's a temporary storage. Once you did your changes, so in my initial career, this is the very it's not just so each and every fresher will do the same mistakes. So you are working something, okay, and you are forgot to commit your changes. I mean, I forgot to push my changes into staging area. What happened? There is a possibility. So in case of power failure, what happened? There is a chance you have to lose your code, or if you mistake. So in such case, so the changes will be traced in dot files. So I mean, the dots start by dot means it is actually hidden files. It is by default it's a hidden file. So mistakenly the fresher might delete that file. What happened? The source tree will be destroyed. So that is a very fresher actually doing that. So that's why we need to, once you working with your code, we are actually saving into our file, but it won't reflect in a repository directly. So we need to first store our changes into cache before moving on to repository. So this is the second stage, that is staging area, or we can call it as an index. And the third thing is repository. So repository is the permanent storage where your code going to be stored. Either it can be a cloud or in a distributed system. So the distribution is nothing but a centralized machine. That's it. Okay. So this is the workflow of Git. So any doubt till now?
No,
others?
No more.
Clear? So you all know, hope you all know what is Git, what is version control system. Okay, it's nothing but a version control system. It's a software which help us, I mean a software developer, to work together to maintain a record of your, I mean a history of your code. So which will actually enable a developer to work simultaneously. So no one is actually depending on someone. So everyone work simultaneously without depending on someone. And at the end, we can able to merge our code together and to frame a complete software. Okay, and we also actually maintain our history. And so the VCS terminal is nothing but how your VCS the software works. So first, as I said, we need to work on our working directory, that is local repository. I mean, I told you. So the third thing is the repository, that is the permanent storage. Before that, we need to clone that cloud repository into a local, that is called local repository. So this is a complete clone or a copy of your repository, I mean the cloud repository, into your local. So whatever you made any changes in a local, it won't directly reflect in a source, I mean destination, until you need to commit and then push into repository. Until then, it will be reside in your machine. Okay, so this will actually, the local repository actually enable user to perform operation like add a file, remove a file, rename a file, move a file. You can make any changes into any files, and at the end we need to commit and push back your changes into cloud. And a Git repository is nothing but a virtual storage, all you know. So it is sent distributed VCS So this is actually reside in a cloud. So we can able to store our changes into repository, and we can pull other changes into our machine. That's it. Okay. So Git is one of that repository as like a SVN. So I have explained this thing also. So this is the workflow, as I said. So whatever, so here this is our project folder, wherever, so where actually we are going to work. Okay. Once we're done with our working, we need to add all of our files, and once we added, we need to commit it. So once you commit that files will be moved on to caching storage. Okay. So it will be resides. So this will be reside in a caching storage called staging directory. So once it committed, we can push in, we supposed to push it into repository, otherwise it won't be reflected in a cloud. And the team member 2 supposed to check out from a repository, and is supposed to pull the changes what team member 1 did it. That's it. Okay. So first you can start modifying, and you need to add, you need to commit in a staging area, and then push, and then you can initiate a push operations. That's it. Okay. And I explain you what is working area. So you're clear with working area, right? It's a directory where we are actually going to work. So say for example, I'm going to create okay. So hope you all know how to install. So if it is a Windows, we need to download it from a GitHub for Git site. So you all know how to install and all, right? So we need to download that Git software, and Git SCM. Git SCM. So it will be residing in Git SCM. So we supposed to download that corresponding application, and we need to install in your machine. Once you install, and hope you all know installation, right? Or do you want me to repeat?
No, Mohinji. No, Mohinji.
So I'm not in a Windows. So what to do? So you need to download this Windows, and you need to install it. That's it. It's like a normal software installation. So once you're done with it, and a window guy will know that what is that? In that control panel, we supposed to set our path, right? Git path. So I mean like a Python path. Ram, you know, right? Environmental variables. Environmental variables. Yeah, environmental variables. So we have to set that, because then only the Git command will be enabled in a command prompt, or else in a Windows Git software is also comes with Git. What is that? Git bash. So Git bash is there. So instead of command prompt, you can use a Git bash. It's a very good tool. So we can we don't need to configure that environmental variable. So Git bash will take care of it. So we can use a Git bash. So in a window command, start searching Git bash, it will be located. Okay, in a Windows once you done with installation. Okay, so this is required for version controlling your software. Okay, so you need to download Git. Once you're done with it, so you can say Git space -help. It will restore all the command which is available. Got it? So this is the basic commands. So this will restore all the available Git commands. And what is the very first step? What might be the very first step? So what might be the very first step? We supposed to initialize the repository. I told you, right? I need a repository. I told you three things. One is a working area, staging area, repository. Working area is nothing but a local repository. I mean, a copy of your centralized or a cloud version of a repository. Working area is nothing but a local repository. Understand?
Okay.
So we supposed to initialize that. Okay. So there is a two way to initialize a local repository. One is what? You need to go to the GitHub site. It's up to you. So if you are using GitHub, you can go with GitHub, or if you're using Bitbucket, you can say Bitbucket. It's up to you. You can choice is yours. The command was same for both. Okay, so both GitHub and Bitbucket using the same command. So let me explain you. So you need to log in into yours. give me an able get that verification code. Yes, I received. Okay, and in that, this is the GitHub panel, and we have to go to that plus icon, say new repository. So we have two options. One is I told you, right, so we can create a repository in two ways. One is creating a repository from a cloud, or else we have to anyway we have to do something in a cloud. So it's better to say new repository, or we can use git init. I will create, I told you first we need to move on to your directory. I will create sample project. It's a folder, so nothing is there, nothing in this file, and I'm going to create git init. So this will actually create a new git empty repository. So git status is the command will tell you whatever changes was made, and there is a no commit was exist. It's a plain new brand new repository, and so I just initiated. Once you initiated, this will actually create a folder called dot start with a .git. It contains all. It will actually tracing it. It is a bit difficult to understand that. So all of your I told you. So where whatever you're making any changes, whatever record. Revision histories like histories or the changes was recorded. Everything was stored in this file. Okay, so everything will be recorded under this file. It is not visible. It is not visible because it is a hidden file, so it won't be visible. And once you initiated and create a repository, you can choose a public or a private. It's up to you. If it is a private, we can able to push with the help of username and password. So we need to authenticate ourselves to move on to that. And I'll create the same one, sample project. Okay, so this is the one way. Create it and create a repository. So add a git ignore. So it is required. And what is readme file? So readme file is for GUI purpose. So what is about your repository and what is actually going to do, and what you can do with it. So like you can say how to use your repository, and what is actually mean for, like if it is a shardbot, what is shardbot going to do, and what is the procedure to clone, etc. We can create that documentation in a readme files. This will be reside in a git UI, and git ignore file is nothing but it starts with a dot. So this will tell you what you want to push and what you don't want to push. Say for example, if you are in a Django application, it will create a migration files. Migration file is not required. And also we are all work with credential files, because credential file will be differ with each and every user. So we might use our own credentials, someone is using their own credentials. Okay, so we should not supposed to share our credential with others, right? So for that we need to hide your credential files. So we can do all of the configuration in this git ignore file. So we can say I don't want to push this file. Just say the path where your path file was exists. Just give the path. So git will ignore while pushing into server. So that is all about git ignore file. And I will create that repository. And I believe this is the better way for a beginner. Okay, instead of importing into server. So it is not preferable for a beginner. So just say new repository, and here once you're done with it, under the code section, you will find your GitHub URL, your repository URL. Okay, so it actually contains two things. One is HTTPS and SSH. What is the difference between HTTP and SSH? So HTTPS means this is the transmission done based from a HTTP protocol, and we need to authenticate each and every time with the help of username and password if it is private repository. Okay, and so we are all lazy people, so we don't want to type the password all the time. So for that we can go with secure shell, that is SSH. So in that SSH we can teach tell the GitHub. So this is, I'm from an authenticated machine. So what happened, we have to create SSH ID from your machine. So we need to, so like it will be like SSH add. I'm already having the key. So this is actually reside in this folder. If I do again, what happened, I'm unable to push into my Docker because I already added into it. So I can explain you in next class if you want. So now I will go with HTTPS. Okay, so first start with HTTPS, because if I take all together you will get confused. So start with HTTPS. Okay, so this is your repository URL. Now we have two options. One is I told you, right, git init. Once you init, what happened, the file was initiated. Now we need to add your git remote add the repository URL. So it is called origin, or we can, so it's we can name it something else what we want. It's called, we can say upstream, anything we want to, and then the URL. Understand? So we can go with the help of remote hyphen, we will show you how many remote URLs are there. Okay, so I'm having one for fetch and one for push, because we need to, it's a two-way, right? So we need to push and we need to fetch it back. So it is configured with two things. So my URL was configured. Okay, this is one way. Got it? In another way, I'm going to create mkdir okay. Now I'm going to use that cloud URL, right, with the help of clone. So you all know what is clone. It's a copying your existing anything into in some other places. That is about clone. Okay, so this is the second method. Okay, I'm just simply copying my repository URL, or the copy icon is there. Just say git clone the complete URL, and if you want to rename the folder name, just say Ramkumar. The folder called Ramkumar will be created. So the file, all of the git file will be reside in this folder. Or if you leave it as it is, what happened, sample project will be a default folder name. Got it? See, the Ramkumar folder was created, or else I can keep it as sample project. So what happened, it will create a folder called sample project. Understand? So this is the second way. So here see that the same will be there. I have not choose the readme, right? So it is as it will look like the both was same. And here the remote will be configured by default. We don't need to worry about that. Just say remote. By default they will use origin. If you want to change, we can change it. So here I name it as upstream. It is up to you. So what you want to. So this is, it is like alias, right? So we don't need to use that complete URL to refer. Instead we can say upstream. So upstream actually mean for this URL. Got it? So here by default they will use origin, or if you want to, we can name it as what we want to. Okay, and this is the two way. One is a git clone, and another is what, using git init and git remote add. So it's a two-step process without clone. Okay, with the help of clone we don't need to init, we just simply say git clone. It's a one method, and this is the second method. Here we have to say git init, and then what, we need to add your remote. Understand? So this is the two method. Now I'm going to create something. So open a Sublime. So this is my folder. I'm going to create a file called sample.py. Okay, so see, now you made some changes, right? So the file was created. Now how I'm going to trace it, we have to use a command call git status. So git status will tell you whatever changes was made. Okay, so here it is indicated by red color. Red color means either you have created a new file, so they will say they will keep it under something called untracked file. Untracked file means you have newly created something or you deleted something. That is called untracked files. Okay, if you created something new and if you delete something, it will be listed under untracked files. And if you modified anything, so it will say something to commit. So both will be reside in a red color. Red color means you did something in your working directory and it was not moved to where? I told you there is a 3 level.
Repository.
No, before repository it's a staging area.
Staging.
So if it is move on to staging area, the color will be changed into red into green. Got it? So now my file is ready to add. I'm saying git add. So there is a two way to add your files. One is you can say dot or the file name. What might be the difference? Dot means this will add everything in this folder. So whatever resides in this folder will be added for a commit for a new commit. I mean, so it is ready to push into server. So dot means this will take everything, or if you want to be specific, we have to say the file name. See, I'm going to create another file. Let's say git. So before moving on, this will yeah. So first I'll create one more file. Just say attach. Okay. So there is a two files there. I'm just say git add sample.py. Again, I'm going to say status. See that changes. It says there is a one untracked file is left out. That is a requirement, and one is changes to be committed. We need to commit. So that is move on to staging area. So this is ready. So this was reside in a staging area, and it is ready for commit. Got it? So this is all about add. If I say git add dot, it will add everything. Understand? Or you can say
Yes,
git rm cached. See, so if you want to reverse this back, because you have added, but you have a few more changes to actually left out. So I will demonstrate that now. Just before I added, right? Just say add sample. Now it is there in commit. Now I'm going to modify my file once again. Modified. Okay. What happened? This will be move on to unstaged. Got it? Because the file contains some changes. You need to add it once again. Got the difference? So once you commit added, and it is so what to do? So either you can remove that staging. Either you need to remove that file from a staging area with the help of git. The command is there. Git rm -- cached the file name, that is sample. Or the changes was there, so it won't allow you to do that. Yeah, now we can remove that, or we can say force -f. So now it is more fall back into it. Okay, so this is, but we are not actually using that. Instead we can, so whenever if we modify something, okay, and it is there in a staging area, and you are modifying the file for file further, we don't need to reverse it back. Just say add once again, or I can say dot. What happened? Both the changes will be added. See the status, both the changes will be added. Now the color was changed from red into green. So means your file was there in a staging area and it is ready for commit. Okay, so now we have to say git commit. Okay, git commit -m. -m is an notation to add a commit message. This will tell you what you are actually made it. So now here what happened? I've created a new file we can call it as a probably we can call it as an initial commit or created sample file, or we can call it as a created sample file. This is an indication what we actually made in this session. I mean, I'm actually working in a 1 hour. It's like a artist marking their time card, right? For 4 hours they did this task. For next 2 hours they did this task, something like that. So in this segment I did this. So we can mark it as a commit -m. Got it? What is commit? Now we won't able to see that because your file was committed and it is ready for push, and it is actually ready to push. So you can say, we'll see that how to push. Now your file is ready to push it into server. Understand? And I will tell you the one more thing. Now I'll delete this file. What happened now? Now I'll actually delete that line. What will happen? Any guesses? What will happen?
The uncommitted changes will reflect.
So now you will see the same this segment. Changes not staged for commit, modified sample py. See, because you modified something, you actually removed the line, means it's a modification. Got it? Because you are removed the line, not a file. Got it? So just that's why it says modified. And we can find what is actually modified with the help of git diff. Git diff either a file name. If you leave it as it is, it will list out all the change, all the difference. It is called difference. Okay, difference between one commit and another. So this is actually difference. Show you the difference between current working area with the previous commit, because this is called history. Means according to my previous commit, I wrote 2 lines. In my new commit, I have removed the 1 line. So there is only 1 line is exist. This is what they meant. Understand? So we can notice the difference with the help of diff. Okay. Now the file is again ready to commit once again. Just say instead of add, we can go with git commit -m second commit. What will happen? Without add anything, because there is actually nothing to commit, right? So this will say nothing to commit, no changes added. It won't commit your changes. So when you say log, you will find only 1 commit, because nothing to commit. So nothing actually exists because we haven't added it. It is still in red color. Understand? It is actually still in red color. So it was actually not added for commit. I mean in the staging area. So if we say commit the same line, what happened? Without add anything, this line will never work. Understand? So without add command, commit won't work. Or how to omit? So without add command, what to do? We can use a flag called am or ma, anything. A means this will add and initiate commit. Understand? So see that I have not used add command, but I'm just saying a. What happened? This flag will add all of your changes. I mean changes, not a new file. It will add all of your changes. Understand? Or I will create a new file. I'll say second commit. What says 1 file change, 2 insertion, 3 deletion. When you say status, see new file was not added because -a will trace only modified files and it will add it into it. Got it? So without add command, you can go with git commit -am. This will add and commit together. It will execute both the command together, but it will actually only deal with what? Only deal with modified files, not with the new files. So for new file, we have to add it. So for new file, or I can delete that file. I will remove the file because I don't need that as a problem. Just demonstrate that. Now your tree was cleared. When you say git log, I'm having 2 changes to commit into my server. Got it? So here in this log, I'm having two things to commit. So see, my GitHub repository, it actually contained one file, right? But it was not there in my repository, right? Clear? Because I did with a first method. I told you two methods. One is git init, adding a remote URL. I just added. I never push anything from a remote. And in second method, I have used a clone method. Means I took a complete copy of your server repository into my local. Got it? So see, here I'm having a README. That is what was there in my server. But sorry, I mean cloud, but it is not there in my this project because here I'm not use a clone method. So what to do is supposed to pull the changes from a server and you need to rebase and then we need to push it back to the server. So before moving on, we need to create a configuration. It's a one-time process because you need to tell the GitHub who you are. Got it? For that we need to say git config. If you use a global keyword, what happened? Your record will be inserted globally, so you don't need to configure all the time. Okay, or else if you leave it as it is, this will be recorded under your folder. Got it? Now I'm saying user dot name. Let's say Ram Kumar. Okay, and user dot email dot pfx. So it is actually took my, because I have not configured initially, right? So it took my global from a global file because I'm not configured it. Now I'm going to say something. I don't need add because I already added. See, the name was changed. Got it? Understand the difference? I have not configured initially. What happened? It took it from a global configuration because I'm not configured it. So if you want to change, we can change the configuration with the help of config username, config user.email. So this is reside only under this my folder, or else it took from my global configuration because I'm not configured. So it took from a global configuration. But here, so once you configured, it is start reflecting. So we with the help of this we can identify who made changes and got it. So that's why we need to do this configuration. So this will indicate this commit was written by whom, kind of. Understand? So that's why we need a configuration. Otherwise, so why I'm saying this, if you forgot what happened, you will actually looking for a global as like a Python. So you all know a Python or a JavaScript, and inside a function, if you using some variable which is not there in a function, what happened? This will actually looking for a global variable, right? Correct?
Yes, my dear.
Yeah, as like that. So if a local variable is not there, it will look as like a it will looking immediately looking for a global. Similarly, in a GitHub, if it doesn't have a local configuration, it will immediately looking for a global configuration. If you don't have a global configuration, what happened? This will say you need to add a global configuration try in your machine. So because if you are going to start a new GitHub, so you might not configure a global configuration. You might not done with your global configuration. So it will actually looking for your say username and email. Then only it will allow you to do that. And if you make it a global, just say global keyword. Got it? Then your record will be git config -- global. Your record will be added in a global configuration instead of your local. Got it? So that is the difference. Okay. So once you're done with it, what is the third step? You need to push your changes from a staging area into repository. Now I told you my both server and the local was not there. I mean not met because server contains a readme files. So let's say git git push what? Your report, remote, right? What is my remote name? We don't need to give you a remote URL. I have set alias called upstream, right? Upstream. And what is your branch name? Your branch name is, what is branch before it? Before moving on to, before pushing, what is branch? So branch is nothing but the working area. So the naming of your working area. So say for example, this is my folder name. I told you this is my working area. Okay. And whatever you made changes, it will be named into some a piece like, so what is that? What is called it's a temporary name. So this will be referred by some temporary name that is called a branch name. And the default branch is called master. So master means for all. Okay. And if you add something, I will explain you that. So branches are used to create a line of development, as I told you. And by default, if you create a repository, it will be created a branch called master. And you are going to like Ramkumar going to work with develop dashboard means he's going to create a branch called dashboard. And Nitish actually working on a facility mean he's supposed to create a branch called facility. Once you're done with your changes, we supposed to merge it together with master. So this will actually avoid a conflict. So in next class we'll talk about in detail about branches. Now I will discuss about a master alone. So if I take all together, you will get confused. Now I'll stop with a master alone. Now, so this is my default branch called master, because we are all in a same line, that is in a master. We took clone from a master and we working on a master, and we supposed to push it back to master. That's it, period. And in next class we'll talk about other branches in detail. Now push master, got it? Now, so you need to give your username and password to push it into a server. So I told you why it is actually asking for username and password, because I'm using HTTPS request. If I configured with SSH, it won't ask you. So in next class, I will teach you how to configure SSH, because you need to install Git first. So in this session and end of the session, please install the GitHub. In next class, I will teach you how to configure SSH, because it is require an installation. So please done with your installation. In next segment I will discuss about SSH. Okay. See, my changes was push it into. Pardon? Hello.
Yeah, Nitish.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm done with my.
Okay.
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah, tell me one. You continue.
Yeah. Okay. So see that. I push my changes into master, right? So in UI it says master had a recent pushes less than a minute ago. What to do? If you refresh the page, you can notice all of your changes. See that? I'm refreshing my page. See? There's a two branch. Master contains requirement sample. So by default, it is created a branch called main. So here I think they named it as a main. That's why it is not conflict with the readme. Otherwise, it will conflict with the readme. Okay. Actually, I pushed into master. So leave it that. So I'll push it into master, or I'll do once again. No problem. Okay, we'll try with a main. Okay, I'll try with main. It says you won't be able to push because in a Git branch, I'm containing only master. I'm not having anything. So you need to pull, or you can say fetch from upstream. So what fetch will do? Fetch will actually fetch everything from your master. And if you want to be specific, just say master. So this will fetch from your
remote. Upstream is nothing but a alias for remote, and master is what? From a particular branch called master. Fetch from a particular branch. Okay. So there is only one branch left, and if you want to fetch all the available branch from upstream, don't say master. This will fetch all from your. So we have a branch called main. Just say git. Now I'll try to push it into main. We don't allow you to because we are in a different branch. Okay, hope you are clear with push, right? I will tell you that checkout and all in later class. Now you are you clear with push? So once you push, what happened? Your branch, a new branch was there in a master. Clear? Your changes. There is a 3 commits was there. You can find out all the 3 commits. Yeah, under this commit, where is the commit segment?
அங்கே சைடுல வந்துரும் கமிட் மெசேஜ் பாக்குறீங்களா மாஸ்டர் போறோம்
எஸ் மாஸ்டர்
அங்க வந்து சொல்லுங்க சென்டர்ல இருக்கு
it is actually showing the reason commit. I want to see all of your changes.
branches margin no
I think I have to go to that 3 commits. Yeah, 3 commits. See, you will find all the 3 commits, and you will find the changes. Just click the commit, and you can find whatever changes was made in a files. This is called history, version history. Understand? You can identify whatever you made any changes. Now I'm going to demonstrate. So here I pushed, right? So in a similar folder, what happened? Just assume this is a team member 2. Here this is a team member 1. Here is the team member 2. Okay, and I will name it git status git config user.email or user.name Badri GS. Got it? So I've configured. First, I'm going to check the branches. I'm having only one branch. I will explain detail. But now I'm move on to master branch. So for that, I need to first I can create a branch call. Say master git branch. Or you can use a checkout. So now you have 2 options. One is a checkout, means this will create a new branch from existing. Okay, so just say I'm having a main, right? I think I don't need a main, so I'm creating a new branch from a main. Git checkout -b master. Okay, master, now main, from main. So this will create a branch from main. Okay, and now have any doubts? So there is no relation between this branch master with the server remote branch, because I've created a branch called master from main, not from this master or a repository remote master. Got it? I've created a branch called master from existing main. So here I will have a readme files which is not there in this file. Means I'm having a changes, right? See, this in this master I'm having one file which is not there in this master. Understand? this master doesn't contain the file. There is a contradict. And have you noticed the contradict? So this master contains a file which is not there in this master. This master contains 3 files which is not there in this file. But both going to refer same repository. Now let's say git status. If I going to push it into server, it won't allow you to see. See, it won't allow you to push. What is the reason? Because member 1 and member 2 was not there in a same line. Both was there in the same branch. Have you understand the difference? Both of them in the same branch. Both of them in the same branch. But this guy created a 3 file. This guy created a 1 file. Got the difference? Both was in a same branch, but there is a contradict between both branches, because this guy contains 3 files which is not there here. What to do? First, you need to lend the changes from a team player 1, and you need to push your changes back to server. Understand? So this is a team player 2, so he's supposed to pull the changes from this guy. So what to do? You can use git pull origin. This command will synchronize. So here I have explained that in this. Okay. So what is the pull? Pull is the operation copy the changes from a remote instance to a local one, and also it will synchronize yours. Okay. So this will actually pull your changes from a local, and it will it will apply the changes into your local. It will synchronize your local with the server. Got it? That is all about pull. We'll discuss about fetch. I did one more thing called fetch. Fetch it's actually one way. Means this will actually fetch will get changes from a server, and it will never reflect the changes into your local. It will actually reside as it is. It will never reflect it. But pull, what pull will do? Pull will synchronize your branch with a server. Okay, I will demonstrate. See that? Git status. So new branch was came. I've not set a tracking branch. That's why the changes was not reflected. So first I will set a tracking branch. Tracking branch means I mean a master. So master was not synchronized with synchronized with server, right? So I need to set that. Just say git branch set upstream to Now see, your branch was synchronized with server. Just say git pull again. See what happened? The file was synchronized. The 3 file was copied into your local, and whatever you did was also there. Understand? That is all about pull. Now I will delete this branch, demonstrate once again. I will check out back to main. Sorry, I'll check out back to main. I will delete the branch, git branch -d master. I delete. I will. So if you get this line, I don't want that because I'm in a learning mode. So I can use a force delete. That is a capital. This will forcefully delete your branch. Now what to do? I need a master branch, right? What is the procedure we have seen? Git checkout -b master origin or a main. So I copied content from main into new branch called master. So whatever I made changes in a master will never reflect in main, because this is a complete copy from this. So if I made anything, it won't reflect in a this individual copy. So once you're done with this method, checkout method, okay, once you're done with checkout -b method, what to do? You need to set upstream. Got it? So you need to set upstream. Now it will be traced with server, or I can do another method. Okay, this is what I did before. You can go with another method. Now you have a changes. See, you have a changes. I will delete that branch to git branch -d origin. So I told you, right, in a pull method, what happened? Your local will be synchronous with server. So you don't need to do anything. It will fetch and it will rebase your code. Or this method, actually I fetch from a server, fetch origin, because I used already. So I fetch from a server. The changes were now there. See, it says I am having 1 on 3 different commit. Means what's the what it means? In your local, you have one commit. Initial commit. Got it? What is initial commit contains? It contains a readme file. Okay, so your local contains one commit, but server master contains 3 commits. Got it? So what to do? You need to add these 3 commit into your, so 1 plus 3 4. So your local will contain 4 commits. What to do? So you need to rebase, git rebase origin master. Okay, now let's say status. Your branch is ahead of 1 commit. Ahead means what? You have all the changes from a server. On top of it, you have one more thing called readme file. See, you took all the changes from a server master and you have one on top of it. Your changes was there on top of it. Understand? Now you need to push it back to server. Git push origin master. So why I'm saying origin here? Here I said upstream. Here I said upstream, but here I'm saying origin. Pardon? Hello? Hello? Gee, break out the voice. Hello? Hello? Break out. Break? Okay. Okay. So see, Nitish boy, your voice is breaking. Can you keep it in a comment?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, once you rebase, what happened? The server changes will be reflected in your local, and you are ready to push into server. Okay. So this is all about the. Initially, I did with it took from a global. Now, if I do any changes, I'll say touch badri.txt. I'll say lenin.txt. Okay. So the file was created. Now I'm going to add git commit -m new commit. So here I have configured, right? So what will say? It will say Badri, because I have configured with the Badri name. So it will mean Badri created this commit. So why it says a Moidin? Because I created from a server, from my URL. That's why it says Moidin. So I took from a GitHub server. So this is from my local. Okay, local commit. Now your local have 2 commit on top of server. So you need to push 2 commit into server. Just say git push origin master. Why I'm saying origin? Because here I have configured my remote with a name called origin. Here it is upstream. That is the difference. It is about your naming, what you actually named your remote. Okay, here I named as upstream, here I named as a origin. That's it. Okay, we'll explain you why we have a difference upstream or master in upcoming classes. Now let's say git push origin, where you want to push into my master branch. Okay, now I need to use my username and password because it is HTTPS again, not SSH.
Hello, Moinji.
Ah,
The text okay.
yes. Nitish bhai, it's a demonstrate class. I'm just demonstrating it. In next class, I will clear. So please, at the end of this session, please install the dependencies in your machine. In next session, we'll do directly. I will guide you, and you have to do that. Okay, so you will easily understand what it is and how to do it and all. So just a demonstrate class. Okay. So in next class, we'll elaborately see that thing, what it is and what is actually doing. Okay. So I pushed into my server. Now we'll move on to the Git branch. There is a 3 commit. Now you will get 2 commit on top of it from another user like a Badri. It's a new commit. Got it? Now what to do? Here I'm just having only 3 commit. Okay. Now actually I'm see git status. I need to set into server. Then only I can able to find out the difference between my local and server. So what to do? I need to set upstream master. Okay. I don't find the difference because I need to fetch from a server. I told you what is the difference between fetch and pull. Okay, fetch is the one-way binding. This is actually like it is like a borrower. It will borrow from server and it will keep it in a staging area, and it won't apply the staging area changes into where. I told you fetch is a one-way binding. This will pull you. This will actually fetch changes from a repository. The changes will be reside in a staging area, and it won't reflect in where. It will never reflect in a where. Where? Any guesses? We have a 3 areas, right? I told you fetch will pull from repository. Fetch will fetch from a repository, and the changes will be there in a staging area. The changes won't be there in where?
Working directory.
Working directory. That's it. That is about fetch. But pull is not like that. Pull, what pull will do? Pull will fetch from a repository. It will be there instead of keep it in a staging. The changes will be applied into your working directory directly. So in this method, once I fetch from a upstream, it is there in a staging. Once I say status, it says your branch is behind from a server. Got the difference? Means you have only 3 commit, but your server contains 5 commits. Got it? In this branch, it says your branch is ahead of 2. Means your branch is ahead of 2 means your local contains 5, your server contains 3 at that time. Now when I say git status, what happened? Nothing is there because your local and server was same line. Both your local and server was in a same line because both your local contains 5 commits, your server contains 5 commits because you pushed it already. But here your server contains 5, your local contains 3. That is all about fetch. Got it? Now you need to rebase. So once you do fetch, you need to rebase. Rebase means you need to apply the changes back to your local repository. Git upstream, git rebase upstream master. The changes will be applied into your local. See, now both readme file was copied from this folder into this folder purely remote with the help of GitHub. Understand? So
Yes,
have you understand the basic of git add commit push? In next class we'll talk about in detail about branches, and so you have to do it yourself. So any
Sure,
doubt in
Mohit.
this?
No, Moinji.
Are you clear with it?
No, my yes, Ji.
மேபி நான் இது ஒரு லோக்கல் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு நான் டவுட் இருந்தா நான் கேட்குறேன் மேபி.
Yeah. So ரெண்டுமே வந்து different folder. So இது ஒரு folder. See இது ஒரு folder.
ஓகே.
இது வேற folder. So ரெண்டுமே வேற ஒரு directory. So both are different directory, but both contain the same file with the help of GitHub. Okay. So now if I do any changes here, what to do? I'm going to do the changes in this file, like I have modified this. Okay, read Melio. Okay, I did some modification in this location. It was there in red color. What to do now?
Add.
Git. What is the shortcut instead of it? Commit
-am.
-am. A means add, because I am modified, right? I have not created new. If it is a new file, then you can go with add. Here I just did modification, so you can go with add. So just say commit message. It's a commit. It's a purely optional. Okay, you just say commit. Commit message modified. It is purely optional. Modified sample and readme files. Readme files. Okay, now your sample projects on top of both server and this. Okay, what to do? Say git push. Here it is upstream master. Here it is git push upstream master. Let's say this. Now your server contains new changes, new commit. See that? New commit from Ramkumar. Okay, now here, now what to do? Instead of fetch, I can go with git pull origin. This will work once you configure upstream, set upstream. Here I have upstream set it, right? This command. Once you're done with your command, that line will work. Git pull origin. Why I'm saying origin? Because I've configured my remote with this name. Just say git pull origin. See, it will fetch and it will apply the changes into your local. When I say git log, the commit was there, and I will open this folder where I made a changes. Readme, right? I'll open the readme. The changes was exist, and in a sample file, the changes was reflected. Got it? This is
Yes.
how about changes also works. Okay. In next class, we'll do the pure remote. I will do the changes in my machine, and someone supposed to do it in your local, and you need to push it back to server. I will pull from my machine. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do in a pure remote. Okay. So thank you. Any doubts idhila?
இல்ல ஜி.
Okay.
ஒர்க் பண்ணி பார்த்தா தான் தெரியும்.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Nitish bhai, अलग आपको पूछो मुझे.
ना पूजा कराना क्या वा?
पूजा करना है. Nitish bhai, just ping me
Can
separately.
you hear me very well?
Yes. Yes now. Yeah, tell me.
That you are talking about it one step ahead.
One step
These
ahead.
changes. The commit is one step ahead. So I was
Add.
having some doubt in that only.
One step ahead is add. Is this?
Hello.
Yes, this one, right? Commit. Before commit, what it's add. Git
Yes,
add.
yes.
Git add.
Okay. So what actually is one step ahead means? What does it mean? One step ahead means if you have to explain this thing in a normal way, then how do you explain this thing?
You mean one step ahead? You mean this line?
Yes, Mohit. Your branch is a step ahead of origin master. Correct.
Okay. So I will demonstrate with the UI in next class. So with the help of Git UI, there is something called source tree. Source tree will clearly tell you what it is. So it means what your branch is ahead of means. Say for example, I will give you 5 rupees for each and every one. Got it?
Okay.
So everyone has 5 rupees. Okay, and you borrow 2 rupees from someone else. What happened?
I have 7 rupees total now.
You have two more rupees on like it's like a greater than others.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it? And I supposed to how to make it equal. So I supposed to give 2 rupees for everyone else.
Okay.
Then everyone will become not. So everyone will. So I have treated everyone equally, kind of. Now, so if I give 2 rupees to you alone, what happened? You only have 2 rupees. Others are fall back to you. If I give everyone the same amount, I gave 5 rupees, 2 rupees simultaneously each and everyone.
Okay.
Understand? That's it.
Okay.
And once I gave, what happened? Your branch will become normal. Now you won't get the message. It says your branch is up to date.
Oh.
So this is the difference between your branch is up to date, your branch is ahead, your branch is behind. Ahead means you have a 2 rupees more, and behind means Vignesh is behind because you are actually on top of on top of origin. Vignesh is behind you means he have not received his 2 rupees, means he is actually behind you. That is the difference between ahead, behind, and up to date.
Okay, okay, understood.
Clear?
Yes.
Now it says behind, right? Here we got a behind message. Yeah, this is the difference. Behind means server contains 5, but I got only 3. So I supposed to pull that remaining 2 into my local. Once I done with it, it says up to date.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see in next class. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you all.
Thank
Any
you.
doubts?
Thank you, Mohiddin.
Hi sir.
ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணது மட்டும் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க.